everybody. My name is Toni Marcolini. Welcome to the podcast. It may interest you to know. If you listen to the podcast regularly, you know how excited I get when authors come on. So I have a children's author with me today, Sheri Miller. Welcome, Sheri.
Hi, everybody. So great to be here. Thank you for having me, Toni.
Oh, I'm excited to have you here. I looked at your book this weekend. Um, Think is the name of it, and it's a children's book. And really, it's attempting to get children excited about caring for the environment, right? And I found this I really found this fascinating, all right, because I obviously didn't look at it from the point of view of an adult. I was trying to put myself through the eyes of a child, and I thought, yeah, you know what? If I was a child, this would really resonate with me. Because you take a child through step by step in terms of what not only what could happen if this bad thing happened to the environment, but how can we make sure this bad thing doesn't happen, right? And it really, really resonated for me. How did you put that together?
Well, the book is called Honoring Our Planet Think. It's a book about celebrating Earth. And, the core intention with this book was to actually put a positive spin on our planet and how lucky and fortunate and blessed we are to have this magnificent planet that provides, abundant, healthy food and clean water, and the sun rises every day. And there's just so much to appreciate about our planet. And we can either choose to get worried and fearful about things going wrong, or just look at what's going right and how lucky we are and how many solutions are available to us. So, I'm someone that really focuses on solutions and how can we. Everything has a problem, but how can we quickly turn our attention to solutions and making things better and enjoying the process? So there was really like a strong, passionate intention to empower kids, that they have the power within themselves to focus on solutions and plant trees and use solar panels and a million of other things, and other solutions, that they have the power to do this. It's within them, and their parents and adults also can feel that way too, that we have the power to do good things for our planet and enjoy our planet and create positive change.
So I know you essentially co-authored, or you carried the baton on this project after your late mother had somewhat started it. So I know you co-authored it in that regard, but it's a passion project for you, right? Your mother, someone instilled, I guess, a passion for the environment in you that you carried on. So was it exciting to get to see it come to fruition?
Yes, I mean, I'm also a singer-songwriter, artist, composer, as you know,
I
and
do know.
that's a whole other podcast episode. Um, yes, I feel I love kids. I inherently adore kids. I love they have endless imaginations, and they believe everything is possible, and they're just so connected to um just to the fun, and we can do it, that kind of feeling. So I adore kids to begin with, and I love to encourage kids and inspire kids to to further enhance that feeling of anything is possible, and especially with the environment, especially for Earth Month, which is April. And I mean, really throughout all the year, we live on planet Earth, so it kind of is in our lives every day. Of course, I have such deep reverence and deep love for our planet. I'm in nature often. I mean, now, especially in April with the cherry blossoms in full bloom, which is just extraordinarily beautiful. And how could you not be in awe of? It's really a miracle. I mean, if you think about it, that the sun rises every morning and sets, and the Earth is spinning in perfect alignment with other planets in the universe. It blows my mind completely. And yes, I do have a deep love for our planet Earth, and I love calling attention and focus on how lucky and blessed and fortunate all of us are. Kids and adults and all of us are just so lucky and fortunate to have this wonderful Earth, and to wake up every morning and have enough clean water. And so that is really near and dear to my heart, to just to kind of gently remind people, hey, we're really lucky. there's a lot of stuff in the news going on, but hey, we have a magnificent earth. And just the energy, the pure, if you feel it, the pure positive energy of all the plants and the flowers and the water. And anyway, I could go on. I'm excited
Yeah.
about it.
No, it's exciting. I think I think you have the right idea, right? You start with children. That's how you make positive change moving forward for a generation, right? You start by telling kids, "Hey, this is something that matters." um, right? Because the older generation doesn't necessarily embrace the environment the same way. All right. You can see an appreciation that I think evolves like with time, over the environment. Because I certainly think years ago, if I dip back into the 1950s, they didn't have a love necessarily for the environment. They didn't understand the impact to that extent that they were having on the environment. Right, that old comedian Dennis Miller does this bit about, and back then, you get McDonald's and, you'd eat it in the car and then you'd shove the bag right out the window and nobody thought anything about like, oh, you should care about the environment. You shouldn't just dump garbage even. You shouldn't Nobody gave thought to that sort of thing. Uh, and so I thought, yeah, this is great. Let's start kids from young identifying that there's a problem and explaining, what that problem is and how they can have an impact, essentially empowering kids to have an impact on something like this. So, I mean, how involved are you in the environment, in its cause, and in just moving the ball forward? I mean, are you an activist in that regard?
Well, first of all, let me just say I agree with you exactly that it's so important to have kids, from a young age have a conscious awareness that this is our planet. Let's take care of it. This is
Yeah,
our planet. It's not somebody else's planet. It's all of our planet. As well as parents too, and teachers and kids and teenagers. I mean, everyone is included. I'm a very inclusive human being. I believe everyone is I mean, that's another message of the book, diversity. That's something that was so important to my mom and so important to me, to honor differences. That's what makes us even more beautiful and enhances all of us and makes our planet so sparklingly gorgeous. And you know it just enhances all of our lives. If everyone was the same, how boring would that be? So that's another core message in the book. And kindness also is another core message of the book. And just being kind to our trees and our plants and our planet, and kind to one another and to each other, and kind to yourself. I mean, that's it. Now that I think about it, that's a huge message. Being kind to
sure.
oneself, be nice to yourself, which is something I was telling myself every day. Be nice to yourself. Give yourself permission to feel good and be kind to yourself. So I just wanted to, you were saying so many beautiful things, Toni, that I just wanted to acknowledge and honor something that you said in your question, which is about previous generations. And while I think now and what's coming next is the most important thing to focus on, because it's where are you going as opposed to where you've been, that's most important, I believe. I will say that, I mean, throughout history, there have been romantic natural poets, from Emerson to Thoreau, and Mary Oliver is another female poet who I adore, who had this deep love for nature and wrote such beautiful poetry to honor nature. And speaking of that, there's a gorgeous, I think, personally, I think classic. I am biased because it's my mom. There is a poem in the book called Living Jade that my mom had written it's short and it's sweet and succinct and it is gorgeous. And anyone who reads the book will see this opening homage to nature. And it's really about, envisioning nature as gems, sparkling gems. I mean, this poem was so perfect to start the book out with. It's just the perfect introduction. So Living Jade.
And certainly, I did see that, and I felt that transcendental vibe, right? That you're talking
Yeah.
about Emerson, Thoreau, right? The transcendental movement, and it does have that vibe for kids.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It's perfect for kids because it's not too complex or, wordy with big, fancy words, so to speak. It's just pure and loving in its intent. And my mom was, you know, the most magnificent poet and opera singer and writer, and just absolutely cared so much about kids and the future of our planet, and just inspiring and imbuing in kids, the idea that for them to discover their own inspiration, that I want to take care of our planet. It's fun to take care of our planet. And
Well, it's certainly not easy to inspire kids, right, to get excited about anything. So I do think that this does, this did the job. I mean, I can see kids getting excited. I think kids love to learn
yes.
at the heart, of everything. And when you present something new, they're kind of interested and intrigued, and they sniff around it a little bit, and will absorb it, usually absorb it better than we do, right? I mean, you teach your child how to play a game, and I can be there for 12 hours trying to figure out how to move my thumbs,
Yeah,
right? But
right,
kids like
right.
that, like they're like, oh, but when they pick up things really easy, they're like sponges. So I do think you wrote the book in a way that enable kids to get excited about saying, oh, right, this has value, this is important, and this is why it's important. So I did. I loved that about it. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, there's so much I love. I genuinely love about this book. I think it's a magnificent, exceptional book that I wish every kid could read. It's The illustrations are fantastic and humorous. We have some fun stuff in there.
Agreed.
I love putting like little, like just little fun, I don't know, I wouldn't say clues, but like, for example, there's a polar bear with sunglasses. And when when the book was in the process, I was even thinking, is it too much to put a Hawaiian shirt on the polar bear with sunglasses? Is that going a little overboard? I mean, we wanted to have a sense of humor with it. And we also wanted to have the kids, like the expressions on the kids be excited and enthusiastic. And there's a transition. This is really important, I think, now that I think about it, pun intended. There is a transformation of the kids within the book. The kids initially start out as these, I mean, no kid is average. Every kid is special and exceptional, I believe. So these kids start out as, school kids, or regular kids in school clothes, I'll say it that way. And then they receive these light bulb ideas over their head at some point, and that's when the solution hits. And that's
Mhm.
when they realize they have the power, and that there are so many solutions available. And yes, there are things that we could improve on our planet and treat with more kindness and respect, be it from energy usage to taking care of our animals and the wild animals, and giving them a habitat and a place to live. And I could go on about that. So when the kids receive the solutions in the book, they transform and morph, kind of like a film, into these superhero kids that have crowns that are glowing and environmental crests on their chests. I mean, we crafted each specific costume or garment or environmental crest on each kid to represent a specific environmental power. So, I mean, there was so much thought and intention. I'm getting a little emotional. Thought and intention and love, and just so much went into every detail of this book. I mean, nothing was arbitrary. It was just, I mean, we wanted to just convey fun and excellence. So,
Well, I have to ask because my podcast focuses primarily on creativity. So I have to ask what the creative process was like for you. And then by that I mean I've known authors who've told me, the only way I can write is I have to, have a banana, run for 2 hours, meditate for 15 minutes, and then I can sit behind my computer and it comes. And I've had authors tell me, you know what, I can't write unless wherever I am, whenever it happens, I have to be spontaneous in the moment. I'm at the computer and there I go, and I let the world just take me over, and in my head, and it comes right out on paper. What's the creative process look like for you? And I mean, because you're creating a lot of things, right? I mean, you're talking about your passion for music, passion for the environment, educating children. All these different things involve creativity. and you bring them together. They kind of all intersect with this book, but overall, you live a relatively creative lifestyle. So, what does the process look like for you when you're going to create something?
Well, I am extraordinarily creative, super creative. I mean, I am an artist. That's my career. I'm an artist and songwriter and composer and poet. I mean, that's what I do, who I am. So that's a whole other combo. So this is like drinking, inhaling and exhaling for me, the whole creative process. I live it every day. I do it every day. I mean, I've been doing it since we all do it. I mean, the truth is everyone is a creative artist. Just most people aren't conscious that they are creating and they
And
don't.
they channel it. I mean, you channel it into different things. I believe that too, right? You can have a baseball player who channels creativity into different ways to approach, hitting. I mean, you can have all different ways of channeling your creativity. Every job requires it to a certain extent. Whether you're coming up with a plan on how to treat people, or it involves thinking outside. Every job will involve thinking outside the box. That's how the great things happen.
Yes,
Right? I mean, there's
exactly,
they
exactly,
they teach a
exactly,
textbook, but great things happen when somebody thinks outside the box of what was the formula for their job.
exactly. So, I mean, so in a nutshell, exactly, I completely agree with you. And I think you're right, 100%. I think it's letting go of rules, letting go of expectations of what other people think about you and what you think that other people think about you, which is, truth be told, what other people think about you is really none of your business, which is, it's what you think about you. That's what, I mean, really, genuinely, that's what matters. And there's just so much, it's so easy to get in a headspace of, when you're creating something, of how, of what other people would think, or how will this be received, or is this good enough? You can start to judge yourself and edit yourself. Would this be good enough to continue working on? And I think one of this is not exactly what you asked, but I'm kind of just going with the flow here in the river here. I'm flowing with the river, Toni. I think
You're
one of
creating a new path for us.
Yes, yes, trailblazing. And if this helps any of your listeners, like this is my joy and my pleasure to share some of the wisdom I've learned along my path. I've been writing songs since I was 8, multiple, endless songs. So I mean, I feel like I came popped out of the womb as a songwriter, composer, artist. What I've learned, and I'm still learning because there's no end to learning, I believe, is when you get into a place where you're actually sitting down or standing up or running or walking or flying, who knows how you what makes what makes turns you on with your creative process. I think one of the first things to do is just say is to let go and to surrender to the creative process and not try to control it, not try to direct it, not try not try, really just not try, allow it to happen and flow. Um,
Well,
so you're
you've collaborated with even a lot of Grammy nominated artists for your music. Um, so I would think that you somewhat bounce off of other people as well as part of the process, right? I mean, you're not, I mean, certainly writing a book can be a little isolating, but a lot of the work you do, you have partners, if you will, like somebody else. And how does that change the dynamic bouncing off of somebody else as opposed to just, being, your solitary self?
I don't think there's such a thing as solitary self, because when I am writing a song or when I'm doing anything creatively, I like to open myself best I can in advance as a channel to receive the masters of those who have come before and receive their ideas and their, for so this is a different conversation. I want to get back to the book, but when I'm sitting at the piano or on a guitar or whatever instrument I'm using, um, things pour out of me that I'm shocked to hear afterwards, be it a lyric or even a melody. I feel like I'm picking up on different energies and ideas and consciousnesses. It's a highly collective, it's a collective conscious collaboration with um, trillions, zillions, infinite ideas. So your job as an artist, and this is something Michael Jackson and so many other artists have said in different ways, your job as a creator is to stay open and be this huge open circuit to allow in the ideas and the if you want to call it electricity or whatever you want to call it, that flows through, and not to know necessarily where it came from and if it's good enough, or if it's something that will yield you any outcome, be it money or acclaim or a great piece of art. I mean, it's the joy of and the creation, it's the satisfaction of the process and the joy and the delight in the process and believing anything can happen. And that's really what I am constantly reminding myself about. And that's why I'm loving so much right now talking about this, because it's reminding me, and maybe even like one listener will feel a spark of remembrance. It's really about the creating and the processing, and the outcome is just the manifestation of it all. And it's beautiful and it's nice. And yes, it can yield all kinds of wonderful things for a greater mass consciousness, as well as yourself as one consciousness in the whole. But it's so fun when you're in the flow and you're flowing with the river, and you're not paddling upstream and resisting. And when you start judging and thinking too much, that's when the resistance comes in. So you really have to almost, I find, for me, I'll just speak for myself, you're turning your brain off and you're allowing your soul to turn on. It's always on, but not pinching it off, and just
So it's more
allowing.
of a subconscious thing for you. What's more of a subconscious vibe? Like your brain absorbs all your images all throughout the day and learns what it learns, and then you kind of turn off your consciousness more to a subconscious level when you create and just let it flow.
I'm not even sure, super conscious, subconscious, unconscious, conscious. I mean, I think it's all interconnected, and I mean, you are every experience you've ever had. I mean, this conversation you and I are having right now will impact us on some level that we're not even probably consciously aware of for the rest of our lives. Anyone listening in will be on some level impacted by this conversation and will carry it forward in ways they may not even know of, and hopefully in ways that uplift and inspire them, because that's my intention. Um, I think that's why I think every human is as unique as a snowflake as a creator, because no one has walked in your shoes and lived the life you lived and talked with the people you've talked with and thought the thoughts you've thought and had your unique experiences. So that unusual swirling kaleidoscope of a morphing, you are the masterpiece. You are the creation. I mean, that's the interesting thing that I've learned, that these songs, or this book, Honoring Our Planet Think, which I so dearly believe in and love with every fiber of my being. Yes, I think it's spectacular. Yes, I think I'm so unbelievably proud of the songs or the books or whatever it would be that I would create. But it's really about you. You are the creator. You are the masterpiece. You are the process. You are what's really being created. So it's just, at its best, it's joyful when you're in the flow. There is nothing in life I love more, and I do love so many things. Oh my God. I love food. I love traveling. I love, I mean, I could go on and on about the things I love, but I will say there is nothing I love more than finishing a song that I was in the flow creating, receiving these ideas that were brilliant, that I knew were not mine, but they kind of funneled through this, I don't know, this tube or circuit, and then they were translated through my own Sheri Miller human experience. There's nothing more I love that makes me happier than to finish a song and that feeling of, yes, oh my God, this song is done. And it's, oh my God, wait till, and then it's wait till the world hears it. And even if nothing happens even beyond this moment, I am, the joy is my success. I created this magnificent thing, and I felt great as I was flowing it through me. And the flowing is the success. So there's nothing I love more than that feeling of finishing a song when you're in the flow, and the river is flowing through you, and you are on your gorgeous cruise ship or your yacht, or if you're into rafting or sailing, whatever it is that floats your boat literally, haha. That's the win. That's the win, the creating of it. And with this book, when I saw the front cover of this book, Toni, I cried. I cried. I was so is it okay to hold it up so you're
Absolutely.
okay, this is what it looks like. I'm going to hold it back out.
Magnificent.
It's magnificent. The earth on this cover of the book, my mom used to draw smiling earth images and smiling kids. So we took the way she did it. It was very much like how the smile is on this earth, which has this huge kind of half circular smile and two dots and this joyful earth. So we took a lot of her drawings and we put them, onto this earth and on all the nature, because nature is inherently love, and I believe is love and positive energy and is just, you know, I don't, nature never gets mad at you. Nature just loves and provides oxygen and is in flow with something bigger, whatever you want to call it, I believe, love or source. So this cover, when I got it, and they're all the superhero kids on it with their glowing crowns, and I couldn't imagine a more gorgeous, magnificent cover than this. I was in awe. I was just absolutely in awe. And you can see all the environmental crest. I'll just make it a little closer. I mean, you can look on Amazon or, at barnesandnoble.com or applebooks.com or even Goodreads and see it for yourself on your own device. But yeah, I mean, and here's the back cover too, if you want to see, which, is the light bulbs and all the kids. And
Yeah.
I just felt a sense of absolute exhilaration when the covers came in. And, it's just,
Sure,
it's
it's
like,
like seeing something come to pass, right? You've been working on something so long and kind of the evolution of, sticking with something, chopping away, creating, getting it to where you want it to be. And then finally you sort of see a finished product and, you know, it is a little bit emotional, right?
my God,
Achieving anything can be very emotional, thinking I've worked so hard to get to this moment. Uh,
yes,
yeah.
exactly. I mean, for me, everything is very emotional. Oftentimes, it was so emotional, and it was such a triumphant is the word. Triumphant is the perfect word. It felt like triumph, like, the superhero pose. I'm gonna go like this. When, like, you see a superhero, be it Superman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, or in this book, all the kids that are the superheroes. It felt like, yes, we did it. It felt like, Mom, we did it.
Yeah.
Planet Earth, we did it. Like Sheri, pat on the back, we brought this dream to fruition. This was my mom's dream. It became my dream as well. And I think also there are so many that probably also have dreams of creating an even better, more beautiful environment for the kids in the future generations. Like, I know in a lot of, I don't know specifically what tribes, but I know that it's a way of thinking in a number of Native American tribes and probably Native tribes everywhere on planet Earth, that we want to make every choice a choice that will enhance and benefit 7 generations forward. That's the mindset.
Hmm,
Um, and I love
that's
that kind of,
interesting.
it's called, I'm not even sure, don't coin me on this, but I think it's called 7th generation thinking. So every decision you make, how will this affect positively 7 generations forward? So, and it feels good because, I believe after we leave this planet Earth from this body, the next generation will pop up, and then the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. It will go on eternally. So how can we evolve our planet forward that we make such beautiful choices out of love? That's literally the words of in the book. I think I haven't memorized it, but it's something like, in fact, I could even like, I feel like we're like in a, a reading. What would that be? Here, I'll just show you. Um, it says literally here, I'm literally quoting the book. Can I do this?
Absolutely.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Here we go. So it says, I'm going to pull it back. If you can see it from here, our
I can.
conscious, okay, fantastic. Our conscious decisions to honor and love planet Earth are a gift to our children, grandchildren, and future generations. You can do it. And I won't give away the last page, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'll show you one of my favorite pages really fast also. I mean, there's so much joy in this book. Um, like you just look at the joy on these kids, these superhero kids' faces. I mean, everything in this book was just so much creativity, so much love, literally creative. This is Toni for your podcast, creative in rainbow, wavy rainbow. I mean,
Yeah.
every last detail was
Was labored over.
it was like we are sculptors molding the clay of our statues. We are the Michelangelos, and we are we are creating. Did Michelangelo create David? Am I thinking of the right sculptor? Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was, and tell me if there's a different sculptor out there for those listening to the podcast and watching it. um I feel like with this book and with my creative projects, and also when you write a song or when you work on a book, I mean, with this book there was a lot of molding the clay. We had a lot of rounds of revisions, and I just wanted it. I am always on a quest for excellence with everything I do, everything. I will not settle for anything less than that. So sometimes it takes a little longer. Sometimes it is true. Good things take a little longer. And I have to believe in and stand behind and feel so proud of any creative project that I put out into the world. That's so important to me. So that's what happened. Excellence. I'm on a quest for excellence all the time.
So why should parents buy this book for their kids?
You know, I think that this book is the most magnificent book to inspire, and inspiration comes from within. I mean, that's going to come from your kid. You can't force a kid to feel any way. That's from your kid. But I will say excite. Maybe excite is another great word. This book is a magnificent book to excite and empower, and possibly, wouldn't it be nice if we could inspire our kids to think about solutions and ways that we can have fun honoring our planet. And maybe it's planting a tree together. Maybe it's cleaning up some trash in a park. Maybe it's exploring what solar power means or electric cars mean, or um, looking at animals and how we can um, better create habitats and honor the habitats and the natural wild habitats of animals, or it could be 1,000 different things. I think this book is it's for kids really of all ages, but maybe I would say like between 3 and 10 or 3 and 9. It's for younger kids maybe. And I would just say it's just so fun to read with your kids. The illustrations are magnificent. It's empowering. I think it would just be a great fun activity with your kids, especially during Earth Month for April.
Well, sure. What I got from it is that your choices matter.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Your choices matter, and I think that's a lesson that you can't start young enough, right, for kids, that they can understand that they can have an impact, on their future, on anything that occurs just by making different choices. You choose to put your hand on the oven, right, and you burn your hand. You choose not to put your hand on the oven, your hand is safe, right? I mean, that's a concept that I think kids have to master from young, like that their choices matter and that it has an impact moving forward. And I sort of got that from this book. Like your choices matter. It matters what you do and how you choose to treat the planet, because your failure to treat it well, could lead to these not nice things happening. Whereas your option to treat it the right way leads to everyone's happy, the animal's happy. Like we make an impact by our choices, and I think it's always great to empower anybody, but certainly to empower kids, I think is you know is wonderful. I mean that's the whole goal, right? We all try to make the place a little bit better for our kids.
Yes, and another key theme, just to answer your question, I agree with everything you had to say about choices and the thoughts you think, which inspire the actions that, first you have the idea, then you think it, and then you feel it, and then it takes it a step further into your action, and then it becomes, I mean, there's a whole process and all that. So um, and also to add to that, another key thing for parents with this book is all about appreciation of our planet and celebrating what is working and celebrating the solutions and how beautiful our planet is, how green and verdant it is, and the flowers and the trees. And there's a lot of butterflies in this book and a lot of singing birds, and notes, smiling rainbows, um, and smiling trees. And I really think it's important to cultivate. I think one of the most important things you can do in your life is to cultivate a practice of appreciation and of thankfulness. And some people call it gratitude. I call it appreciation, counting your blessings. So there's kind of also a habit that can be taught to kids about appreciation, that, I am so fortunate to have this clean water to drink. And I am so fortunate that there are these beautiful trees around us. And just kind of calling it out and putting a focus and an awareness on how lucky we are and how fortunate and blessed we are to have this planet. So honoring it, that feeling of honoring it, of honoring our planet.
Yeah, I love that. So, where can you buy this book?
Um, Buying the book, you can get it online on Amazon if you ever go on Amazon, which is probably, is that everyone at this point?
Yeah. Pretty
Amazon.
sure everybody's got an Amazon account.
Yeah, exactly. You can buy the book on Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, Apple Books. There's also a myriad, a host of other websites you can get the book on. It's on Goodreads as well. And it's also in hardcover format, which is what I showed you before, at soft cover format and ebook format. So you could have it on your, laptop or your iPad or your Kindle or your phone, as well as read it to your kids before sleep, if you want,
Yeah.
a bedtime story or a morning story, whatever your bag is.
Yeah. Sure. So basically anywhere you can buy a book, you can get this book. Certainly it's definitely a worthwhile read. It's an adorable book. It's really well illustrated. It's got a powerful message. Lets your kids think and learn at the same time as being entertained. So good job, Sherry.
Thank you. Thank you. I think I agree. I think it's a spectacular book. It's far exceeded what we set out to do, which was to inspire and empower and have fun with the kids and entertain while teaching them these empowering messages and inspiring messages. Every word carefully crafted, everything carefully crafted. I am so proud of it. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, you should be. You should be. They did a wonderful job with it.
Thank
So I highly recommend it. Again, we'll put a link up. At least the Amazon link we'll put up. All right. That'll get you to the book. I want to thank you for joining me today. I also want to invite you back. So we didn't really get a chance to get into your music that much. And I think that would have been a really cool conversation to have too. Like I said, I know you've collaborated with a lot of Grammy nominated artists, Grammy winners. And I think that would have been a whole story unto itself. So I hope you come back and we can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. I so appreciate you. Thank you for asking questions that really sparked imagination within me, and I appreciate everyone listening to this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me say, close out the podcast. Say, have a great day, everybody.